They say the happiest couples never see it coming. That's the lie I believed, right up until the moment my fiancé flinched like I'd pulled a gun on him. Just because I reached for his phone. Let me ask you something real. How well do you actually know the person sleeping next to you? Like for real. Do you know their passcode? Do you know who they're texting at 2 a.m. when they think you're knocked out? Because 5 minutes before my whole life detonated, I would have bet everything I owned that I knew this man. I was in my wedding dress, 10 minutes from walking down the aisle. Guests are already seated, music warming up. The room smelled like roses and expensive mistakes. Then his phone buzzed on the table. One notification. That's it. I reached for it without thinking and he snatched it back so fast the room went cold. Not playful, not awkward, panicked, like I'd almost grabbed a live wire. Everyone laughed it off. Wedding nerves, they said. But my stomach dropped. Have you ever felt that sudden chill for no clear reason? That little alarm in your chest that whispers, nah, something's wrong. I ignored it. Biggest mistake of my life. By 8 a.m., the bridal suite was chaos in the prettiest way. Champagne popping, makeup brushes flying. My girls are yelling over each other. I felt like I'd won life. 3 years with Mark, the perfect boyfriend. Texted back fast, remembered birthdays, flew me to see a BO for no reason. On paper, Prince Charming. In real life, a man who kept his phone face down like it held state secrets. He'd been distant all week. Barely looked me in the eye. Everyone said it was pre-wedding stress. Don't overthink it, they told me. So I didn't. I smiled. I trusted. I walked straight toward the cliff, eyes closed. Then one of his groomsmen rushed in, grabbed my car keys, and bolted. Pure chaos, laughter, cameras flashing, and then Mark came back in, sweating, scanning the room like he'd lost something that could ruin him. My phone, he snapped. Not worried, desperate. That's when I saw it. A soft glow under ribbons on the side table. A phone, not mine, not my bridesmaid's. His unlocked. My heart started doing this warning rhythm like it was trying to save me. I picked it up. Here's the scroll stopper. The contact name at the top wasn't mine. It wasn't his mom. It wasn't work. It said the real one. And the message underneath. She's clueless. Just get through the ceremony. The payout's almost ours. In that moment, the wedding finally made sense. And in the next few seconds, I had to decide, do I quietly disappear? Or do I end this man in front of everyone? Who ever trusted him? My hands were shaking so bad I almost dropped the phone. The screen was still lit like it wanted to confess for him. The name at the top wasn't Mom, wasn't work, wasn't even a fake nickname I could pretend. Not to understand, it was the real one. It's real as in, I was the fake life he clocked into every day. The last message was from Mark, 2 minutes ago. Price sent from his watch when he realized he'd left the phone behind. She's clueless, just hold tight. Once the papers are signed, the assets merge. We're too close to the payout to mess this up. My ears rang, the room tilted. This wasn't cheating. This was a plan. A long con with me as the investment. I scrolled up and it just kept getting uglier. 2 years of messages. 2 years of him running a second life behind my back while sleeping next to me like a saint. He texted her on my birthday. Dinner with her is torture. I wish I was with you. That same night, he toasted too many more birthdays together and kissed my forehead. He texted her when I got promoted. She got the raise. Our mortgage approval just doubled. The payout's gonna be crazy when I divorce her next year. That's when it clicked. The wedding wasn't love. It was leverage. Here's the mid-story gut punch that stopped my breathing. A photo from yesterday. Mark in our guest bed, shirtless, smiling. The woman wrapped around him. His cousin. The one who suddenly couldn't make the wedding because she was sick. The time stamp was from the exact hour I was at my final dress fitting, worrying if my shoes were too tight. That's when my heartbreak turned into something colder, cleaner. I wasn't about to cry in a bathroom, stall and let him win. Not after that. Another text popped up. Don't stress about the phone. Just get down that aisle. We've worked too hard for this payday. Love you, love you. I locked the screen. Slid the phone into my bouquet like I was tucking a weapon into a holster. Jess asked if I was okay. I didn't even answer her, I just showed her the screen. Her face collapsed in real time. She started crying, saying we had to leave, that we had to cancel everything before it was too late. I shook my head. No, I said, we're not canceling anything. She stared at me like I'd lost my mind. Sarah, what are you doing? I fixed my lipstick, smoothed my dress, took a breath that felt like flipping a switch. If he wants a performance, I said, I'm about to give him one he can't walk away from. That's when the doors to the aisle started opening. If you're watching this story, tighten your blanket and hit the like button so YouTube understands you want the next chapter unlocked. And tell me in the comments, which beautiful country are you watching from? And what's the exact time there right now? The music swelled and everyone stood, smiles everywhere, phones raised. I stepped forward like I wasn't about to set my life on fire. Mark was waiting at the altar, eyes glossy, playing his part like he deserved an award. When he saw me, his shoulders loosened, like the problem had solved itself. Every step down that aisle felt like a drumbeat. Boom, boom, boom. My heart wasn't breaking anymore. It was sharpening. When I reached him, he whispered, "You okay?" with that fake concern he used when cameras were on. I smiled back and squeezed his hand so hard his ring dug into my skin. "Perfect," I said, and I meant it. The officiant started talking about love like it wasn't about to get mugged in front of 200 people. Mark's mom dabbed her eyes. My dad stood tall like he was handing me to a good man. The words blurred. I could hear my pulse in my ears. Then the officiant asked if there was anything anyone wanted to say before the vows. Silence, thick, heavy. I stepped forward and cleared my throat. A few nervous laughs fluttered through the crowd, like they thought this was part of the ceremony. I reached into my bouquet and pulled out Mark's phone. You could see the blood drain from his face in real time. "This," I said, holding it up, "belongs to my fiancé, the man who's about to promise me loyalty." I turned the screen outward so the front row could see the name at the top. "The real one." Murmurs rippled through the room. His mom leaned forward, squinting. The officiant froze. Mark tried to grab my wrist. I stepped back. "I found this 10 minutes ago," I said, my voice steady. "Messages about a payout. About getting through the ceremony so our assets merge. About divorcing me next year. Like it's a business plan." Gasps. Someone dropped a program. My dad took one step forward and then stopped when he saw my face. Mark started talking fast. "Babe, this isn't what it looks like. She's crazy. She's obsessed." I was trying to cut her off, so I scrolled out loud. I read the birthday text, the mortgage text, the one about using me like a stepping stone. Every word landed like a slap. His friends wouldn't look at him. His mom started crying. The officiant quietly stepped away from the mic. Here's the twist that made the room turn on him completely. I showed them the photo, the one of him in our guest bed with his cousin, the date, the stump, the same hour I was trying on wedding shoes. Mark's knees buckled. He went pale. "Please," he whispered. "We can fix this." I leaned in close so only he could hear me. "You're right, we can." Then I turned back to the crowd and said, "But I'm not done." Because what I did next wasn't just about exposing him. It was about making sure he couldn't do this to another woman ever again. I lifted the phone again, but this time I didn't read anything. I tapped the screen and turned it toward the crowd. "You all deserve to know the full story," I said. "So here it is." I hit play. Mark's own voice filled the room. His stupid, familiar laugh, the one that used to calm me down. "She's in love with the idea of me," he said in the recording. "Once we're married, the money's basically ours. I'll ride it out for a year, then bounce. Easy." The silence that followed was violent, like the air got punched out of the room. His ma made a sound I'd never heard from a human before. Half cry, half scream. His dad sat down hard. One of his groomsmen walked away, shaking his head like he was done with life. Mark lunged for the phone. Two of his friends grabbed him without even thinking about it. That's how fast loyalty flips. When the truth shows up, I looked at the crowd. My family, his family, people who'd bought outfits, booked flights, taken time off work to celebrate a lie. "I'm sorry you all had to find out like this," I said. But I wasn't going to walk into a trap quietly. And I wasn't going to let him walk out clean. Then, I did the thing nobody saw coming. I turned to the officiant. "You can stop the ceremony, but don't leave yet." He hesitated, confused, then nodded. I walked down the aisle alone. Not crying, not running. Calm, the calm of someone who finally got their power back. Halfway down, I turned around and faced Mark one last time. The prenup you made me sign, I said. The one you rushed me into because you said it was just standard legal stuff. His eyes went wide. I had a lawyer review it last week, I continued. The same lawyer who helped me set up a recording consent and documented every message on that phone. The same lawyer who just sent your girlfriend's husband the screenshots you forgot existed. The room erupted, people talking over each other. His cousin wasn't sick. She was married to a man who had no idea his wife was planning a payout with my fiancé. Mark collapsed into a chair like someone had unplugged him. I didn't stay to watch the fallout. I walked straight out of that venue in my wedding dress, through rows of shocked faces, into sunlight that felt like freedom. Outside, Jess wrapped me up in a hug. My phone started blowing up with messages I didn't read. I took my heels off, felt the ground, and laughed. Not because it was funny, because I wasn't trapped anymore. Here's the part nobody expects. 3 months later, Mark lost his job. His reputation went with it. The lawsuit from the other husband was brutal. The real one disappeared the second the money dream died. And me? I used the honeymoon refund to take myself to a beach where nobody knew my name. I sat there with my feet in the sand, watching the waves come in, thinking about how close I came to ruining my life for a man who saw me as a payday. I thought walking out of that venue would be the hardest part, but it wasn't. The hardest part came later, when the adrenaline wore off and the quiet showed up. You don't just lose a person when something like that happens. You lose the future you already lived in your head. The house you pictured. The kids' names you almost picked. The version of yourself that thought love meant ignoring red flags because the color looked good on him. That night, I sat in my apartment, floor still in my dress, mascaras streaked, staring at the wall like it might explain how I missed it. The signs had been there. The phone is always face down. The work trips that never lined up. The way he'd flinch when I asked simple questions. I wasn't blind. I was hopeful. And hope can be dangerous when you give it to the wrong person. People kept texting, "I'm so proud of you. You dodged a bullet. You're so strong." And yeah, I heard it. But strength didn't feel like this. Strength felt lonely. Strength felt like waking up the next morning with a ring-shaped dent on your finger and no one to send a good morning text to. Strength felt like relearning how to be a person without the storyline you thought you were in. Here's the part nobody got. Healing isn't dramatic. It's boring and messy. It's deleting photos at 2 a.m. and stopping halfway because you still like one of them. It's almost texting him when something funny happens and then remembering who he really is. It's sitting across from friends who don't know what to say, so they say nothing, and you learn to be okay with the silence. A week later, I met with my lawyer again, not for revenge, for closure. Getting the paperwork right felt like closing a door that had been left open too long. I donated the dress. I boxed up everything that smelled like him. I kept nothing that made me feel small. And then something weird happened. The quiet started to feel peaceful. The mornings felt lighter. The weight in my chest loosened. I caught myself laughing at dumb stuff again. Not because I was over it, but because I was finally moving through it. One night, on that beach, I watched a couple argue over directions, then laugh about it, then walk off holding hands. It hit me that love isn't the highlight reel we're sold. It's consistent, safe. It's not having to decode someone's phone like it's a puzzle box. I didn't want fireworks anymore. I wanted to be calm. I wanted to be honest. So, here's what I learned the hard way. And if this saves even one person some pain, it's worth saying out loud. If someone's actions don't match their words, believe the actions. If your gut keeps whispering, don't drown it out with excuses. And if someone treats your heart like a transaction, walk away before the bill comes due. I didn't lose a wedding that day. I lost a lie, and I gained my life back. If you're watching this and your gut is whispering that something's off in your relationship, listen to it because sometimes the moment that breaks you is actually the moment that saves you.